welcome to my office. I'm here in my new practice in Fountain Valley. This is HavenMD. I am taking over MBA chic today. I did my MBA at Oxford and finished in 2014, which in some ways feels like a lifetime ago and in some ways feels like it was yesterday. A little bit about me, I'm from Southern California. I hopped around a little bit from place to place for training. I went to college in Miami. I went to medical school at Tulane in New Orleans. I went to do my MBA at Oxford as I was finishing medical school. Came back, moved to Philadelphia to do my residency, and then moved to the Bay Area at Stanford to do my fellowship, and then moved back and completed the weird shape of whatever that was, and came back to Southern California. Worked in the emergency room for a little bit because that's one of my specialties, and then decided to be bold and start my own place, and here we are. First thing I do when I wake up in the morning is get a coffee from this baby. I've had this machine since medical school and it's not going anywhere. And then I look down at this baby and make sure he's eating his food for the day. And then I get ready to go to work. This is my little home gym. I just try to do some yoga before my day starts. Welcome to HavenMD. This is our Fountain Valley office. All right, my MBA. Doing my MBA at Oxford was like being at Disneyland every day. It was probably, I'd say I had 2 years that were the best years of my life. 1 year was being at Oxford, and the second year is this year for a couple of reasons. I opened my own business. It's exhilarating and terrifying at the same time. I'm getting married this year. My husband-to-be started his own finance firm at the same time as he started to work for a bank. So there's a lot of exciting things happening this year. So I'd say this year is kind of the culmination of a lot of things, of all my training, of my business training, and of me deciding to finally buck tradition and do what I, in some ways, feel like I was always meant to do. And I'm sure part of that is because of my MBA. Maybe I would have started my own practice even if I didn't do my MBA, but it's taught me to be bold. It's forced me to use my contacts and to be very, very stubborn and never take no for an answer. I'm sure other people have that trait even if they didn't do their MBA, but I think in many ways my MBA has given me the confidence to keep pushing the ball forward, and to constantly figure out ways to reinvent my business, to figure out how to profit and not only just be present, but to be a force and to be profitable in the middle of a pandemic in Southern California, where medical spas, which is what we are on every block. So that's a little bit about why the MBA was important to me. I'd say the number one reason why I value it so much is because all my best friends are from my MBA for the most part. They're my support network. They're the people I call when crap hits the fan and I don't know what to do next. They're the people I brainstorm with, they're the people I vacation with, they're some of my best friends, and I would not be who I am without them. All right, so Saeed's MBA is a year long, and that was great for me. It's actually what I preferred, because I didn't want to take 2 years out of my medical training because the medical path is quite long. So I knew I wanted a 1 year MBA, and for a lot of American programs that kind of eliminated those right off the bat for me. The 1 year experience was great. I would 100% do it again. Towards the end of the year, I got a little sad and kind of wished that I was able to be there for 2 years with my friends. Maybe it would have helped me build deeper connections with people or kind of explore the campus more, fortify my connections in England, but I would do it again. I was able to do every project that I wanted to do. My goal going into the MBA was to be able to understand the financial side of medicine, because that's not something you are ever taught as a doctor in America. If anyone has a different experience and anywhere else, please let me know. I didn't know anything about the finances behind medicine. As I was graduating as a fellow, I didn't even know how much the procedures I was learning to do would be reimbursed for in my particular region or anywhere. And that's a kind of a lofty sentence to give a new fellow in California, which is the highest taxed state in America. It's medical education is one of the greatest things you can go through because it teaches you so much. It gives you humanity, and it helps you help other people, but it also in many ways handicaps you if you don't take the time to learn all the finances behind what you're doing and how to do it profitably, especially when you're graduating at the ripe age of 33, like I did. So there's that. I went into the MBA wanting to learn more about how pharma companies do what they do and why that affects me as a physician, or how NGOs do what they do and why that affects me as a physician, how big finance firms and investment bankers change the medical landscape in America. And I was able to do all of those things in a year. I worked with Novartis. I did a consulting project with the World Health Organization. I was in Switzerland for 6 weeks. I did a project with the NHS. I just jumbled it in there in between my year. It ended up being, I'd say, a year and some change. I started in October, ended in September, but it was 100% worth it. I didn't sleep, but I'm pretty sure most people in their MBA don't sleep either, so it's totally fine to be part of the club. How do I pick? That's like asking somebody what day of the week they like to sleep the most. I'd say my favorite part were all of the awesome people that I met, still hang out with to this day, still FaceTime with every Christmas. That's number one always. Some of the other things were the access that it gave me to travel to other places. It was the only time in my life where I could go to Africa on the weekend. We took a couple of trips to Morocco, I went to Kenya, I did my World Health Organization project in Switzerland. Went to Turkey, and probably a bunch of other places I'm not remembering. It gave me a lot of freedom intellectually. There was always a really interesting talk going on at the Oxford Union. A couple of my friends participated in debates at the Union. There was always something to take part in. It was almost overwhelming to begin with because there were so many things I wanted to do all at the same time, and inevitably you have to choose because time is the most precious resource that we have. And if you could duplicate that, then you'd be a bajillionaire, but we're not there yet. And most surprising about my MBA experience, oh man, I think one of the most surprising things was how well that I found that I fit in. I thought I was gonna go in as an almost physician, being kind of like an odd egg, I guess, because everybody else there was either an investment banker, consultant, somebody working in software, and I was a doctor with not a lot of business expertise, and so I was kind of worried that I wouldn't have a lot to connect on, and that really couldn't have been further from the truth. There were 2 other physicians in my cohort. One of them is still one of my very good friends to this day. We actually ended up doing residency in the same city. The world is that small, who knew? I'd say that was probably the most surprising. The second thing I found most surprising is I really feel like now I have friends in almost everywhere. And I'm sure that's true for other MBAs as well. I don't think you need to do an MBA internationally to get that aspect. But I really feel that the biggest blessing that Oxford has given me was that everywhere I travel, there's always somebody there. My experience during COVID, that was challenging. I graduated fellowship in the middle of COVID, so when I left, and my fellowship was primarily pain management, a little bit of regenerative medicine, and so coming out and looking for pain management jobs was really challenging. I'm also emergency medicine trained, and I love the field, so I thought, what better to do right now during a pandemic than to help people, and I did. I worked at Kaiser, actually did a video with MBA Chic where I talked about how it was to be an MBA on the front line and to try and help patients who were in some ways the aftermath of COVID, because they were the patients that needed help that couldn't get in to see their primary care doctor, or the little kids that came to the ER because they were really sick and couldn't see their primary care doctor for months and then ended up having huge tumors in their kidneys. It was horrible. I worked as an emergency medicine doctor. I still do from time to time to keep my skills up, and because I just like the folks that I work with over at Kaiser Downey. But it's a hospital in inner city LA. We see a little bit of everything, and we saw a lot of COVID. I was exhausted. After about 8 months, 9 months, I really felt myself kind of hitting my limits of what I could handle as a physician, as a person, in terms of what I was seeing. And so I took a little bit of a break and kind of had an introspective moment where I realized that it was time to do something for myself and time to do something for the patients of mine that wanted to heal in other ways. And that led me to open this practice. During COVID, my days were long and grueling. I was working usually 12-hour shifts. Thankfully, that 24-hour shift thing is long in the past. But it felt like a 24-hour shift. Every day felt like I was at work, even when I was at home. When I was home, I was thinking about my patients that I couldn't help to the extent that I wanted to. When I was at work, I was trying to help patients as much as I could and realizing that I didn't have the resources to do everything I wanted to. It gave me a long, hard look at the medical field and in all of the things that are imperfect.
My days look like doing a 10 to 12-hour shift in the emergency room in Los Angeles County.
Tiffany Mathias is an ER doctor, and she's been treating COVID patients since the pandemic began. She says one of the hardest parts.
My typical day, oh boy, how much time do you guys have? I have gotten to the point where I work nonstop, but I am the type of person where I know I'm an introvert, but I know I have to be an extrovert to run a business. So essentially my day starts at around 7 a.m. I'm up, taking care of my dog, making sure everything's set at home so that I can come to work and be here by about 8:30 running the show. I see about maybe 9 to 10 patients a day right now, and we're a new business. We've only been open for 4 months, and that's fabulous for me. I'm more than happy with that. We've got 2 locations. We're here in Huntington Beach, and then we're here in Fountain Valley. So this is our Fountain Valley location. I can give you guys a quick tour at some point. I do a variety of things, including PDO threads, laser facelifts, PRP microneedling for almost anywhere in the body, face, neck, scar tissue, for hair loss. So those are some of the main things we do. We do Botox and fillers as well. I'm going to take you guys through actually a video of me doing a laser procedure and then of me doing threads because they're awesome and I think everyone should know about them. I got there because I was doing regenerative medicine and because it helped me understand on a deeper level how to regenerate someone's face and bring them back to their previous levels of beauty or augment their beauty instead of just fixing a defect. But anyways, I'm here at my first office until about 1 usually, seeing patients here in Fountain Valley, and then I head on over to Huntington Beach and check out the other location, make sure everything's okay and running well there. I'll do some Botox, fillers for any clients that day. Then I go home and do some more work, because why not? Usually I work until about 8 or 9 o'clock, and then I hit the hay and wake up in the morning and do it all over again. Is you've got 3 big lines on your forehead. You've got the most inferior line, your middle line, and the most superior line. Typically for men, it's right where their hairline ends. If you go too low, below the inferior line, the Botox can go from the frontalis muscle into the muscles where your eyebrows are, and your forehead feels heavy, and one of your eyebrows can be lower than the other. So I am very careful about this. I always mark the most inferior line. I'll focus more on the wrinkles above in hopes that decreasing that wrinkle will decrease the pull on the lower wrinkles, but I'll never go below. And I always mark the most superior line. And sometimes I'll go above the most superior line. I never go below the most inferior line, even if there's a wrinkle there. This is me doing a Neogen PSR plasma facelift on a gentleman with pretty deep dermal scarring and pigmentation. This laser has to go at 90 degrees, completely perpendicular to the epidermis. It's amazing for acne, pore issues, pigmentation, and just fine lines and wrinkles, and it can even cause remodeling up to a year after the procedure. I've had some incredible turnaround and results with this, and it's perfect because it fits in flawlessly with my regenerative medicine training. Hey everyone, welcome to our Huntington Beach location. We are so close to the ocean. It's lovely. Come look. Okay, so biggest win. When I first started the practice, I bought 2 locations at the same time. In most situations, I would not recommend doing that, but the way our business plan worked, the way our practices were located, and what our clientele was for each location, it just worked out well that way, and I was able to negotiate both locations down at a reasonable price to where it made business sense. But I was really expecting to take 6 months to a year, if not longer, to break even. And within the first 2 months, we've been breaking even with our variable costs. That was a huge, huge win for me. I'm thankful every day. It's made such a difference. It's helped me feel more confident, like I can do this, which was a little hard at the beginning, if I'm going to be honest, going through all of what I went through, putting in our fixed costs into the practice, looking at equipment to lease, figuring out how to do this in the middle of a pandemic, and then the Russian-Ukrainian war. So I'm very thankful for that. That's one of the things that I feel has helped me work harder, faster, longer. My biggest challenge. When I first opened the practice, yes, we were in the middle of COVID and that made some of the licensures challenging, but the number of permits, licenses, inspections, requirements that are needed to be able to run a medical practice as a physician in California really makes you wonder. I completely understand why people leave California and move to other states. The licensing was insane. I think we are up to 7 licenses. We are in month 4 of running, and I think we just got our last license this week. There's probably more that I don't know about that I'm sure I'll have to figure out once I get there, but some of these requirements are crazy. Financial commitments, yes, but I'm talking certificates of occupancy, licensing for performing massages, cosmetology licenses for me being able to do microdermabrasion as a physician, or for our estheticians to be able to perform microdermabrasions even though they're already licensed to do it within my establishment. Being able to register my corporation in California, that was probably the longest one. All the other paperwork that goes into structuring a corporation as a physician in California, because you cannot just have an LLC, you have to have an S Corp, or you have to have some variable of a C Corp if you can get away with that, the way the laws are structured. It's more than I would have expected. I would not have been able to navigate it on my own. Hey there, it's Dr. Mathias with HavenMD. I am home, it's 8 p.m. I'm finally caught up on all of my paperwork, my documentation for the day. I am wiped. I am sitting here on the couch, bundled up in my blanket while my puppy wreaks havoc in some part of the house. I'd like to say I'm gonna be up for the next 2 hours doing something fun, but I really think it's gonna be bedtime pretty soon here. Thanks for watching.